Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And I guess we're going to talk about that George Lucas rumor since it's a weekend. It's a slow news day. And I think this is kind of non-news.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually buy it. But it was a slow news day when I wrote it too, so.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about this. Now, I'm not saying that the people associated with this are lying in any way, shape, or form. I am highly skeptical that George Lucas, at almost 80 years old, he's 79, is gonna come back to Disney to take the reins of Star Wars. Now, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Disney's desperate. He also came to their defense during the proxy battle, and people are like, "What did he get for that?"
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I do think it's highly unlikely. But it's not impossible.
Highly improbable.
There you go.
But we'll talk about. We'll discuss the rumor and what our thoughts are on it, and if George Lucas coming back would even be a good idea. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if him coming back to Star Wars, given where he's at, like current year, I don't know if that would even be a good thing. Because remember that one animated movie he did was a Practical Magic or whatever.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want that, but in Star Wars? Yeah, no, I don't think so. But let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So this was Star Wars Theory.
Yes.
Who had Roger Christian, who
Yes.
was a director, was he like a second year?
He worked on a set. He was a set something first, and then he did some director stuff on, he worked on New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and Phantom Menace.
Okay. So, and he was on, and he seemed like a very nice guy. But he said during the chat, he heard that George Lucas was returning to that galaxy far, far away.
I have exactly what he said right there.
Okay, there it is. Do you want to read it, or should I read it?
It's up to you.
I'll let you read it.
But I think he's coming back, I'm pretty sure now that he's doing a series, I think that they're now bringing him into the fold. From what I hear, because there's a Star Wars live action series coming, I've got a strong suspicion that George will have something to do with that. That's something to do with that doesn't mean the same thing, though, as running it. That's what my thinking is. And I might be prophesizing. That's what I heard and read. And he continues, I don't know anything apart from what I'm prophesizing that might happen, because you've seen he's been very physically present there. He's been down on the sets and everything.
Well, that much is true, because there are photos of him with Grogu. Yeah, it doesn't mean, he kind of looked at Grogu like, yeah, I don't know what I think about this, but he is on very good terms, as I understand it, with Dave Filoni. So it does make sense for him to pop in once in a while and see what's going on. Now, that's not the same as him wanting to be the producer or director, writer, whatever of another series. And if he was going to do that, you'd think he would have jumped into the Obi-Wan show.
No, and they ruined it. You'd think that, Disney would have, when they were going to do the proxy battle, other than having him put, say he was voting for the white card, you think if there was a deal going on, they would have announced it then, because it would have got them a lot of votes. You know what I mean? Or why, when there's already backlash over the Acolyte coming and people aren't really too keen on it, now would be the time to drum up interest in Star Wars, and they're saying nothing. So unless they're holding it for the end of, the fiscal year or the quarter to try to boost numbers, I don't know why they wouldn't announce it if it was true. And just because you're involved with something doesn't mean that you're like a main part of something. It could be they're asking him questions. He's been consulted about something. Plus, he said he read it somewhere. It hasn't been any place that's been legitimate that's, been true.
Yeah, this has been a rumor for a long time that they would actually bring him back. But I think at this point, my personal feeling is that ship has sailed. It's been over 10 years since Disney bought Lucasfilm. Mm-hmm. They threw his treatments for 7, 8, 9 out the window. He doesn't seem like he's too terribly happy with the direction of Star Wars. I don't know if he cares. I mean, some of the stuff he has said, I don't know if he really even cares anymore. He's just kind of like, my Star Wars was my thing. It was my 6 movies. And whatever they do with it at this point, like, I don't really give a crap. He already cashed the check. He's already got the money. And I think the reason he sold, honestly, was the fans. I think that was a big part of it, because, before Disney bought Star Wars, fans spent 20 years shitting on George Lucas.
True. I mean, I can't say that's not true, because that is completely true. So.
And if it were me and, I woke up every day and people were like, I absolutely hate that you ruined the thing that you made, every day in, day out for years. I mean, there was a whole, people versus George Lucas.
I remember that.
Freaking Kevin Smith with Clerks. They put George Lucas on trial.
You know what? That little baby whiny bitch can just shut up, because it's okay when he does it and he makes a career, making fun of Star Wars or questioning and stuff. We question like the stupid Masters of the Universe show, and he has a flippin' colossal baby ass meltdown.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
what the hell, dude?
When you're on the other side of the desk, it's a little bit different.
I know.
Right?
It's like, I love how it's okay when you do it. It's okay when you talk about rumors and stuff. A lot of them aren't even true, but it's okay when you do, because you're you. But when we say, hey, we're hearing a rumor, we're hearing something. No, how dare you? You're not allowed to say stuff. Sorry, that's my little side tangent. Fuck him. Sorry. Continue.
Anyway. But yeah, I mean, people were telling George Lucas that he was awful, that he lost it, that the prequels sucked, and that was a joke for years, that the Star Wars prequels were the worst Star Wars ever.
Mm-hmm.
Little did we know.
Disney said, hold my beer.
Yeah, little did we know how bad it could get. And I think, he's just like, you know what? They're giving me $4 billion. He didn't need the money. I think he gave a good chunk of it away.
Did he? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
No, he had a lot of stock stuff with it.
But, his family's set for life. And I think he's just like, this isn't my problem anymore. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be like, he could be looking at like, you know what? One more try. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can do a Star Wars that people like. And
I just don't know why he'd bother. And I think that him and his wife are buying a house in Chicago, or like a apartment in Chicago or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know,
And she's like a Starbucks executive or something.
I don't know what she is now, but I'm just saying it just seems, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, because he could probably be like working on it in some other capacity. I just don't think it's very probable.
He could be the Phantom Menace behind Dave Filoni. I mean, it's very possible that he could be.
Dave Filoni's turned into a bit of an utter.
I'm not real big on the direction he's going in either, but I think that's one thing that did come up in recent interviews, though, is that George Lucas kind of gave his blessing to Dave Filoni, and love it or hate it, but I think that the brand is so damaged at this point that even if they brought George Lucas back tomorrow, I don't know.
People aren't going to trust it.
No.
Because you did the same thing with, like, you destroyed Luke in the movies, and then you brought him back in the shows, and people were excited and happy about it. But then you had like Pablo Hidalgo out there making comments, and we had the writers doing the New High Republic or whatever making digs all the time. I just don't trust any of them at all, and their stuff just keeps falling off a cliff. And every time you think it's going to be good, it turns out to be a bait and switch.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't matter even if you bring the people back. I thought Kathleen Kennedy would be all right because she worked with Lucas and Spielberg. Nope. I thought when they brought Russell T Davies back to Doctor Who that would fix things. Nope.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, like, with Obi-Wan. I mean, there was a perfect example where they were like, it's going to be an Obi-Wan show, guys. He's going to be on Tatooine. People are like, yes, Obi-Wan, Luke. He's going to be watching our Luke. It's going to be cool. Yeah. And then we got what we got. So people just they're no longer playing the game, the Charlie Brown and Lucy football game. They're just tired of it. They're tired of being on their backs. They're screwed over.
Tired of being on their backs.
Speaking from experience.
Tired of being on their knees. I think that just fans are so jaded with these legacy franchises that you pretty much have to prove to them, like, they're not going to blindly follow these franchises anymore. And that's the biggest takeaway from all this culture war stuff that's gone down the last, 5 or 10 years, 12 years, however long it's been, is that, fans no longer get excited when they announce a sequel or a follow-up to a beloved movie. Now they look at it with suspicion. They look at, apprehensively, because there have been so many misfires. Every once in a while, they get it right, but it does not happen very often. It's almost like intermittent reinforcement. Like, okay, well, we got Picard season 3, but how many other shitty reboots or whatever did it take to get there?
You don't even have to make it to the actual release of it, because if the cast and the crew and stuff start making, talking shit, then you already know, and they're like leading with, this diversity card or that diversity card, you already know it's going to suck. So people don't even bother. And sometimes things are actually pretty good. They just didn't give it a chance because, you preemptively destroyed the goodwill you had going into it, like the Dungeons and Dragons movie, for example, Yeah,
that sort of, I mean, that's when it backfires. And I think that social media has been like this massive double-edged sword, because sometimes I think these people always have been douchebags. We just didn't know. We were blissfully unaware that they were douchebags because they weren't on Twitter all day, showing what big douchebags they were. But now
It's word of the day.
It is.
Today's video is brought to you by the word douchebag.
Douchebag. It sounds like a Kenner Star Wars figure. But,
There you go. Make it so.
Make it so.
Crossing streams there. Now, one thing I will give George Lucas that was pretty cool, and that Disney immediately stopped as soon as they got control of it, was he used to let fans do stuff. Like,
Yeah.
fans were allowed to make fan films. Fans were allowed to go and make comics about Star Wars and different things like that. And he usually didn't care too much about it, as long as you weren't like, raking in money over it. He just didn't seem to care. He'd kind of give people's blessings and let it go. And then as soon as Disney came in, because, they are literally the Sith, they had to make sure they had every penny under their thumb. And they went and stopped fans from doing, what fans wanted to do. And that's the one thing that's disappointing too, is under George Lucas, like love him or hate him, he at least let fans be fans. And Disney, they won't let you have anything, including good Star Wars.
Yeah, I know, right? So we're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
There we go, guys. I'll believe it when I see it. And even if they announce it, I'm not sure it's going to fix anything.
When I heard this, I was like, as much as I would like it to be true, I do not think it's true. It's so old, and I just don't know if he wants to do it anymore. And I could be wrong. And if we're wrong, that's great. But I'm not holding my breath.
No. So let's wrap this one up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.